you guys, welcome back to Miss Return Soldier, a platform we use to encourage those going through divorce and also for all of us to learn from one another on how to start building lives that we want and love. So I know that I said I was going to be a little bit more consistent with the videos, and despite my best intention, especially as we started the new year, I have not been that good. But I've got a reason though, okay? A lot has been happening around me. I mean, for one, it is this COVID-19 pandemic that is going on. The numbers in South Africa are increasing daily, and so are the deaths. And some of those deaths have been of people I know, or people close to people that I love, people in my family. And so it has been really hard. And I know because in December I also had COVID-19 myself, and for 2 weeks or so I was really not well. I had the flu, and I was really tired, but thank goodness I have recovered. But it does have those lingering effects. I feel like sometimes I do feel a little bit tired. Sometimes I just don't feel like doing things that I love to do, like doing my videos. And I think at this point I really would like to just remember and honor people who have passed on from the pandemic, and to the people close to them, people who love them, to say please take heart and may you have peace. Yeah, so this is actually a very difficult time for all of us. And the other thing really is that, because I think of the pandemic, and I don't know, maybe it's just life. Sometimes I feel like my mental health is not really up to par. I'm very good at exercising my body, trying to eat well. But one of the things as the year starting that I have thought a lot about doing is actually spending more time on my mental health. And I know for many people, when they hear the term mental health, they think mental illness. There's a difference, you guys. There's a difference, rather, you guys. And I think, when we actually start talking about mental health issues, the importance of taking care of your mind, and your emotions, how you're feeling, the better we will be off. Because when you actually think about it, everything that happens in our lives really does start in our minds. And if our minds are not healthy, if we have a lot that we are dealing with and we do not have space to offload, or tools or techniques to use to kind of like take the baggage off and like help us calm down and rest just a little bit, it will take a toll on us, and it's really not good for our livelihoods and trying to plan for the future, really. So the other thing that has been on my mind as we start in this new year has been around, it's only been 2 weeks, but I'm already beating myself up over the mistakes that I swore that I will never make. Okay, so just in the last week, I made a mistake that actually cost me money. I mean, it was not like a huge amount of money, but when I looked at what I did, I just thought, this really did not have to happen like that. If I had just calmed myself down and looked at this situation, it did not have to go in this direction. So this got me thinking about the patterns of our lives that basically dictate our thoughts, our feelings, our habits, our behaviors, our action. Do you ever sit down really and think about some of the patterns that you have in your life that are directing the way that you live and the way that you think? And and because many of us just don't do that, because many of us just keep on making the same mistakes, and we keep beating ourselves up for making those mistakes, instead of actually just sitting down and really exploring or investigating what could be the issue here? Or maybe I should really rather be grateful, because fortunately, what always happens internally always shows up externally. So every time I find myself in a chaotic situation, or I'm not feeling so great, and maybe I should actually just be grateful, really, because the truth is, whatever is happening internally always have a way of showing itself up externally, So every time I find myself in a chaotic situation, in an argument, fighting with someone, or, just not feeling so great, I just, I know that something is not going so well internally. But maybe there's a silver lining, you guys, and we should actually be grateful, because the fortunate part is whatever is going on internally inside of you will always have a way of showing up in your life anyway. So that is a good thing. I know with myself, every time I'm, struggling with something, I'm arguing with someone, or there's a bit of chaos happening in my life, I always know that I need to check in with myself on what actually is bothering me, because usually the issue is mine. Because we all have a choice on how we react to situations or to people. And this year I've actually made that commitment that I think I'm just going to be a little bit calmer. And I think that starts with taking care of my mental health. And the nice thing is I've gone back to seeing a psychologist. And, I was saying to my kids, so, I'm seeing a psychologist if you guys want to come through. And they're like, no, we're good. And I said, and I realized that actually there is a bigger education that needs to happen here about mental health. Guys, when you're feeling not so okay, when you're struggling through an issue, it's not a bad idea to go speak to somebody. It does not mean you are crazy, or you're losing your mind, but that help can really go a long way. So today I actually just wanted to share with you just 3 patterns that I have recognized. Actually recognized them a long time ago. But this year I've decided, and now that, I'm putting so much emphasis on working on my health, mental health. So I have decided that this year I'm going to tackle these patterns that have literally been running my life in such a big way, and like really running me off the road more than actually keeping me on a path. So just 3. So yeah. So the first one, you guys, okay, and these are not in any particular order because they're all got to go. But the first one is that I am so impulsive. I am so impulsive, it blows my mind, okay? But the funny part about it is that I will spend so much time, for example, like on a day-to-day basis, thinking about like, oh, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to do with my day today? I will spend so much time on such mundane issues. But when it comes to like really big stuff and costly things, I am so quick to make a decision. I'm so quick to make a purchase. And, like without considering the consequences. And, so this has been it's been an issue for me. I mean, it's not something that happens all the time, but it has happened often enough for me to realize something is a little bit off here. And I don't think I've ever taken time to actually figure out what triggers that, and figure out like why, when it comes to things that don't really bother me that much, I spend so much time on them. But on big things that I should really be thinking things through on, I'm like, I can be so quick to do something. So so I'm saying this to myself with the most loving kindness. And I'm just wondering, do you guys ever suffer from that? Like, do you find that you are not so detailed when it comes to some of your choices. Detailed in that, considering, if I do this, what does this mean for me? How is this going to impact my pocket? How is this going to impact my relationships? Maybe relationship with self first and relationships with others. Like, have you thought about that if you suffer from impulsiveness like I do? And like, so this year I've decided that that is one of the things that I'm going to really look at, and just explore this with my psychologist and with myself in my moments of calmness, just to see and figure out, and also watch myself closely. I just want to start being an observer of my own habits, because I realize these things are the habits. I learned them at some point for whatever reason. Maybe I was young, and at the time it was a way of protecting myself, that I act a certain way when I'm faced with a certain situation. So I need to know, as an adult, what are some of the things that trigger that behavior, and for me to deal with that. Okay, so that's the first one. The second pattern that I have observed, and I am definitely, so this one is the one that actually we started with my psychologist to start talking about, is I have a God complex. I literally have a Messiah Savior complex. I mean, it is the most ridiculous of things, okay? But one thing that I've also noticed is that this behavior was absolutely modeled to me by my mother and by some of the women in my family. Women who are very masculine and like to be in control and to be in charge, and they are fixers. They're very solution oriented, and they don't have time to be sitting around and talking through a problem. They're just like, the first thing is, what can I do? How can I help? How do we fix this? And so this is one of the patterns that have been running my life. So I'm going to tell you like a little story of what happened to me, just to illustrate this point. So 2 days ago, I'm standing by my windows very early in the morning, I think around 6:30 in the morning. I look out the window, and there's a lady, an old lady, and like really old, okay, and her hair is like hanging down. She's all gray, and she's walking like she needs like a walking stick, and she's got like this blanket over her. Okay, I live in a complex, so this was weird, because I'm like, where's this person coming from? Because we all kind of like in this gated complex. And she's walking like here, but then at some points she sits down on the grass, then she gets up, and then she touches like the trees. And I mean, it just looked very weird from where I was standing, okay? And I could see my neighbors and some people like just walking past her, and people just looking and like just going off on their business. And I felt so weird, because I thought, oh my gosh, what if she's lost? Because the night before, someone was driving past and saying they were looking for their father, who has Alzheimer's, and they think they're lost. So I just got into fixer mode, okay? I just remember I was wearing shorts and like this tank top. I just ran outside, and I went to her and I said, hi, are you okay? And she said, yes, I'm fine. Why? And I thought, oh, okay, she actually sounds fine. She doesn't sound like she's got dementia or anything. So I said, no, because, I was looking out my window and I saw you, just like, you look like you're lost. You keep sitting on the grass, you're touching the trees. And she's like, yeah, it's so beautiful out here. I like sitting on the grass. I love nature. So I'm just looking at the trees. And she looks at me and she goes, your spotlights are showing. And I'm like, excuse me? She says, your nipples. And I thought, that should teach me to stay out of people's business. And you see, and I just thought, it was such a fun conversation with her after that. And I realized, yes, okay, to me and some other people, it looked weird. I don't know why that, like, you know, someone was out sitting on the grass touching the trees, right? But like, yeah, everyone was staring as well. And but then what they did for me, it almost kind of like, I mean, I think when I was walking back, I did a little walk of shame because I felt, yeah, geez, you actually ran out of the house with your nipples up, with no bra, going to tell someone to stop smelling the roses and, you know, hugging the trees. Like, who are you? What makes you feel that the way that you live is so much more acceptable or better than what she's doing, you know? And this is just one recent example. I mean, I've got hundreds of examples, but I think the whole point of it, just like with the impulsiveness thing, is, you know, what are the things that trigger me in that moment that make me do certain things? So with the God complex, what is it about me? Not always, of course, but sometimes that makes me feel like I feel like I need to fix someone or save someone, or like I have it all figured out and they don't. And I realize that this type of behavior, this pattern, is actually it's actually very negative, because what it does as well many times is that it stifles the people in your lives. You know, I've seen with myself and I've seen with my mom as well that you try to do stuff for people so much. You know, you want to think for them, you want to do for them, and you actually don't give them a chance. And in some ways, is, you know, there's a control element to it. You literally are a control freak, you know. And I've always thought that, and I'm not one of those people who would say, like, say I'm with someone, where are you? Why didn't you call? You know, when are you coming back? So I thought, you know, control was such an ugly thing, and it came out in that ugly way. But actually, it does not always come out in a way that look very bad when you look at it, you know, from the surface. But, you know, so that is one of my other patterns that I am working through this year. And just to also like learn to live my own life the way that I see fit, and not have someone else think they can come in and tell me what is best for me. So I absolutely have no business telling people what's best for them. You know, the best we can do is let people be who they are. And if you think someone is in trouble, you know, actually it's none of your business, but like just pray for them, okay? And stop giving out advice and all of that is unsolicited, really. So that is my number 2. And my last one, because I mean, I'm an evolving person, so I do have like some mistakes, but I'm not going to work on everything all at once. But the other thing that I know that I need to work on is that I am a perfectionist. And again, I did not really understand, and you know, what perfectionism means. And I never thought that it was such a negative thing. And I never actually thought that I was a perfectionist until I actually realized that it actually is not such a positive thing. But I think perfectionism just steals your joy, you know. So with me, like I said before, I can be very impulsive, but then there are other times when I should be living freely and flowing like just the water and just being. I want to do things right, you know. You know, it's the control thing again. You know, I want to do things a certain way because they must look like this, you know, to, I don't know, to outsiders, to myself. But like at the end of it, I want to be happy with this thing. So, but the truth is, I'm never really happy with everything that I've kind of like thought through a million times. And I think, you know, I also need to kind of like go back again, look at what triggers this type of behavior. And I know, for example, like the videos. I mean, I like doing the videos, but sometimes I overthink like some what to talk about. And I'm so glad I'm talking about patterns today, because it was not what I was going to talk about. But then I thought, actually, this has been on my mind, and I'm sure somebody would love to hear this, and I would really like to get into conversations about things like this. So perfectionism in my life has showed up in that, like, as I said, with the videos, for example, I have to do, like, being at school, have to study and finish degrees in record time. Before I submit work, I have to read it like a million times before I submit it, because the comma must be in the right place, the T's must be, everything must be crossed out and, dotted properly. And then what happens is I miss things because I'm so much in my head and not in my heart. And I miss a lot of things that are so important that, if I just kind of like just became authentic, just like maybe wanted to pursue excellence and authenticity and not perfection, then my work and my life and my interactions and my relationships will be all the much better. So you guys, those are my three things, my three patterns, and I'm just interested, what are you kind of like not really struggling with, but what are the things that you have seen in your life and how they direct the way that you live? And also, when you look at and explore those things, do that with a lot of kindness. Just think of it as a habit. I've got lots of other habits that I know I can get rid of them, so my new habit now is going to be like being in the present, breathing a little bit more, spending time with the people that I love more, seeing my psychologist, coming from love more than I come from fear or struggle. And yeah, so as we start the new year and as I work through my issues, I think what I can definitely say now is that I am definitely going to be pursuing authenticity, excellence, and realness, and working on a path that can only take me, and reveal the perfect me, the perfect self to myself and to the world. So thank you so much, guys, for watching once again. And I promise I will do my best to come through. And please remember to subscribe, to like the videos, and to share them. And it's always such a pleasure to be with you. And I'll see you in the next one. Please remember to leave your comments if you have any. Those always make me so happy. So thank you, guys. Bye.